If you're podcasting with just audio, you're probably missing out on most of your growth. In the past 11 months using Riverside for my podcast, Wisdom for Wannabes, we've grown to over 75,000 subscribers and over 1 million views on YouTube. Yay! Thank you, YouTube community. Over 2 million views a month on Instagram, just from clips. Yay! Thank you, Instagram community. And here's the surprising part. Actual podcast downloads from podcast platforms, around 1,000. So what does that tell me? It tells me the podcast itself is not the growth engine anymore. The system behind it is. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I use Riverside as a solo podcaster to turn one interview into long-form video, short clips, and content across platforms. This is my take based on how I've actually been using Riverside every week for the past 11 months. My name is Jackie Morreale, and I'm the host of Wisdom for Wannabes, the podcast that seeks to find wise words in business, beauty, and betterment. This is my first how-to style course video. It is based entirely on my own real-life experience building and running this podcast system for Wisdom for Wannabes. Of course, this is important. It's going to be different than other people's experiences because it's based on what actually worked for me in this practice, not theory. So why am I making this video? Before we get to the tools, I want to say something I really believe. Everyone with a message should be able to share it. People ask me nowadays, should I start my own podcast? How do I start my own podcast? My answer is always absolutely, not because it's trendy, but because your voice deserves its place. How do you start your podcast? That starts with Riverside. But here's the mistake most people make. They think podcasting is just about recording interviews. But what I've learned is this: podcasting is not the product. The system behind it is the product. One conversation should not become just one piece of content. It should become a content engine. In terms of my background, I have been working in marketing for 20 plus years. I've been doing interviews specifically since 2013. I started with written interviews, case studies, designer features, press style storytelling as copywriting for advertising. Then around 2017, I started doing monthly interviews with really interesting people. Everything back then was recorded audio, transcribed manually, edited in Word, turned into written content. Later, I moved into audio podcasting using Adobe Audition for editing, Buzzsprout for hosting and distribution. Both were great. Adobe Audition gave me the deep control over audio editing. Buzzsprout made publishing simple across podcast platforms. But there was a limitation. It was audio only. No video, no clips, no discovery outside podcast platforms. It was powerful, but limited, and also extremely time consuming. Then about a year ago, I made a shift to video. Hello. I realized something important. Video and short form content drive discovery, not audio alone. That completely changed my results because now on YouTube with over 75,000 subscribers and on Instagram with millions of views a month on clips alone, and again, podcast downloads are still hovering around 1,000. My own lesson here is simple. Audio builds depth, but video builds reach. And when you're just starting out, that's what you want to get. So why Riverside, you ask? I found Riverside through Spotify for creators. I had experimented with other systems, even Zoom, but it wasn't built for podcasting. Riverside stood out to me because it combined everything I needed. It became my full content system. When you log into Riverside, you'll see home, projects, schedule. I use schedule to invite guests. You send a link, they join remotely, and it syncs automatically with their calendar. A real interview I recorded last month. The guest was in a different state. At one point, his internet dropped. He rejoined using the same link. Riverside handled everything automatically. What I still had was clean audio tracks, separate recordings, no lost content. It all just worked. Thank you, Riverside. Now, inside each project on Riverside, once you have a recording, there's a section called Made for You. Inside that, you get magic episodes, magic clips, magic segments. This is the part where AI is doing some of the heavy lifting for you as a creator and saving you time. To me, this is one of the most powerful features. Riverside automatically generates clips from your interview. One interview episode, I can get around 10 to 12 clips, some rated 95 to 99% for engagement potential. That basically means these clips are most likely going to perform well. That is exactly what has driven my growth. I take these clips and I use them as YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, LinkedIn content, That's how one interview becomes distribution. The reality check here on all this is I never just post them as is. They always need editing, context, refinement. AI helps, but intention matters. And at the end of the day, you have to make it work for you and your brand. Here is my editing workflow. Step 1, I have to have a clean structure. I remove the intro noise. I remove the ending conversation. I set a target runtime of 30 to 40 minutes. Step 2 is the AI tools. I'll remove all pauses, remove filler words, remove fluff. I always review everything manually, which leads us to step 3, transcript editing. This is one of my favorite parts. You can edit directly from the transcript words and have it appear directly in your video. If I delete a line of text, it also deletes that segment from the video instantly. This replaces Word documents, manual syncing, separate editing systems for audio and video and text. Everything is in one place in Riverside. Here's the reality check on all this in terms of editing time. Even with all this amazing technology that Riverside brings content creators, 1 hour of content still takes me about 8 hours to edit because quality matters. I use a simple XLR microphone setup, and then I enhance it with Riverside's Magic Audio, EQ. I personally like the sound of bass boost. I also adjust speaker levels manually when needed. For video, color correction is a game changer. It helps balance lighting across remote guests so that everyone looks consistent. Thank you, Riverside gurus, for making this a reality this year. My honest take, one feature of Riverside that I don't use any longer is the eye contact fixed gaze tool. It looks very unnatural. I tried it early on and never used it again for this reason right here. In terms of layout and branding, keep it simple. I use a grid layout, consistent captions, logo placement, and then I add quotes, text overlays, occasional visuals. Once everything is done, you get to export the video. You can upload it to YouTube, use the transcript, use the keywords, use the subtitles, use the summary tools, and then repurpose the clips across all platforms based on how they do. Had I stayed audio only, my reach would still be extremely limited. What changed everything for me was video and clips. A system that multiplies one conversation into multiple pieces of content is one that's amazing and worth the small subscription fee that it costs every month, tenfold. In terms of the art and expression, there's a deeper realization that I've had through all of this. This isn't just about podcasting. This is about the art of communication. And tools like Riverside don't just help you publish content. They let you turn communication into something more. It becomes a form of self-expression, a form of storytelling, a form of art. Because when you combine your voice, your ideas, and the ability to shape them visually, you're no longer just sharing information. You're creating something that reflects how you see the world. And honestly, the results may surprise you. Riverside allows me to do all of this as one person. Record, edit, create clips, publish everywhere. But more importantly, it allows me to take conversations and turn them into something alive and distribute it around the world. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast, you should. Not because it's a trend, but because your voice, your message deserves a place to exist in this world. Before we go, I want you to try something with me. We all know that we can have any software and any tools in the world to get started with something. But if we can't get over something bigger, which is the fear of putting ourselves out there, they're all for naught. So let's try this 60-second imagination exercise. Feel free to rest your eyes and just imagine this for a moment. You get on stage, you speak. People hear you. They're not judging you, they're just listening. They smile at the way you see things. You say something honest, and it makes them think differently. You say something light, they laugh exactly where you hope and prayed that they would. And when you finish, they clap. Now imagine this. The next time it's a bigger stage, there are more people. You show up again, not perfect, but real. And instead of being afraid what people will think of your vulnerability, you start to notice something else. You're finding your people. Your voice is reaching the people it's meant for. And this time, they don't just clap, they stand, a standing ovation. And with every thought you share, every idea you voice, your audience grows. But more importantly, your impact deepens because your words aren't just content. They mean something. They mean something to you, and they mean something to someone else. They help someone think, feel, see themselves differently. And that's why you share them. That's why you use your voice in this way. to connect, to inspire, to make the world a more beautiful place. So now you have everything you need, the tools, the system, and a vision of what's possible. So go do it. Share your ideas. Let it flow. See how your words change the world. Have a wonderful day. And thank you to all the folks at Riverside for all you do to make it easier for us podcasters. Bye.